Hey y'all, so we are going to be doing chapters 49 through 53 of The Eye of the World. So we are finishing up the book this time. It has been just great. So down in the comments, let me know if you want me to review the book as a whole as well before I jump into the Great Hunt, because this is a great, I've really enjoyed doing chapter by chapter, but I also feel like a whole book wrap up now that I've read it in its entirety would be a good idea. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do that before I start on the Great Hunt's chapters. But I am so excited, and let's get into this video. Chapter 49, The Dark One Stirs. So in this chapter, there's a lot going on, and the blight makes me extremely anxious. But it is nice to see Matt relying more on his bow rather than that dagger that he's been just clutching to himself. So it's nice to see him actually relying on the bow like he usually would have been, and I'm really glad that he got his own shining moment in this chapter where he kills that monster. It was so good, because I've been so worried about Matt this whole time in this book, since the dagger especially. So I'm really glad that he got like this shining moment of killing something with his bow, not with that dagger. It was a very nice moment for Matt. Truly enjoyed it. So Moraine is talking about the Green Man and how no one has ever found him twice, and you only find him when you're in desperate need. And so I'm kind of concerned about Moraine, because on one hand, I really wonder if her desperation to find him will, in fact, make her the first person to have found him twice, or if it's just her arrogance at this point. That would cause her to just absolutely believe that she would be the one and only person to ever be able to find him twice. That could say something about my pessimistic nature. I feel like if that were me, I'd just chalk it up to, well, we need a new plan because no one's ever found him twice. I'm not going to be special enough to be the first one to find him twice. So that could speak more about my personality more than Moraine. And I don't know, I'm just kind of curious whether it's more of her desperation or her arrogance that is kind of winning out. And at this point, I'm kind of worried that it could be another twist where they don't find him, because why would she be the first person to find him twice? So I'm kind of a little worried about that in the back of my mind, about them not actually finding the Green Man. But with how close we are to the end of the book, I feel like it's going to be likely that she finds the Green Man first. Loyal is constantly talking about there are worse things to come, and you can tell in this chapter that it's really wearing on Rand. His resolve is weakening, and you can tell he's getting really tired of the constant barrage from Loyal that something worse is going to be coming. And I can completely understand that. After a while, you can really get tired of somebody just constantly talking about doom and gloom, and I definitely understand that. As a person who does do that a lot, I myself sometimes am a doom and gloom person, and I've had really close friends of mine just have to tell me, look, you have to stop. I can't handle you being this pessimistic all the time. And I understand that. I think that's why it's not surprising that Rand's resolve is just crumbling at this point, and while it's really draining on him, because it's exhausting to be around a person like that, and it's taken me a long time and a lot of personal growth or personal work on myself, I guess, to try to overcome that, or at least to internalize those feelings. Like, I may say my worries, but I try not to harp on them and continue saying them over and over. Like, I get things off my chest, I don't hold things in, but I don't repeat myself over and over when I'm worrying about things. You know, I try to just internalize that, because it doesn't help me, it doesn't help whoever I'm around, like my husband, if for me to just constantly say, well, things could be worse, things are going to be worse, you don't know what's going to work out. And I kind of feel bad for Rand. But Loyal is, he's an Ogier. He's not from, you know, these human cultures, and he's going through a lot of things himself, and to him, he's speaking the truth. He's speaking his knowledge. So it's interesting to kind of see Rand try to still be friendly with him, still try to not be rude, and just completely tell Loyal that he needs to be quiet and stop talking. So I kind of wonder how that's going to play out in the future, but it's nice to see Rand still trying to be friendly and just push through his own worries right now at this point. Because it does turn out that in this chapter they do find the Green Man. So Moraine is the first person to find the Green Man, and not unexpected, just very, I mean, somebody has to be the first, right? There's usually exceptions to the rule, and that's why we follow these special characters and not just some random farm boy, because it'd just be a boring story if, you know, it was told from that point of view. So it makes sense that she would be the only person to find him, and they are in a really desperate situation, and I don't feel like it's undeserved. It's just something that I had thought of when we were first going through it. Now, but the Green Man calls him Child of the Dragon, and I am extremely interested to know how that comes into play, because on one hand, I kind of thought that Rand might end up being the dragon. So I kind of wonder if Child of the Dragon means something different for him, that there's going to be another person that's going to be the dragon, and he's just a child of the dragon, like another reincarnation of him from another age, because this is the Wheel of Time and it's circular. So I don't know if Rand is really going to end up being the dragon, like I kind of thought he might end up being. So I'm super interested to find out how that's going to play. Chapter 50, Meetings at the Eye. This chapter, so Rand and Egwene are so sweet together, and Rand cares for Egwene so much, and it just makes me worry about them. I really worry about their relationship and how it's going to change and adapt, and what's going to happen to them, and what things in this world are going to tear them apart. So I really worry about the future of them. Like I said, I've said this a million times, I know they're not going to end up together, but I'm just really curious about how their relationship is going to transform, and I hope that it's still in a very loving, positive direction, because I don't want them to end up hating each other. So that's ultimately what I want from their relationship. Shit with Agenor and Balthamel happened so fast. I actually had to reread part of this because it just happened so fast. They just arrive. I'm still a little confused on that, how they just arrive in the Green Man's area. I wish I had more information on that. So, but once again, we're from these characters' point of view, and to Rand, they do just arrive. Like they're not expecting them there, I don't think. So it's just, that's fine. But stuff happens so fast, and this is a point where Lan is torn between Moraine and Nynaeve. And that split-second indecision gets him hurt. And I actually, like, I love Lan and Nynaeve together. I love how their relationship has evolved in this book, from its subtlety. I really enjoyed it. And I really want them to work and be together at this point, but I feel the worst for Moraine, because obviously Moraine and Lan are bonded through the Aes Sedai and the Warder connection, and Lan let Moraine down at this point. He really did. He shouldn't have been torn between the two. His duty was to Moraine, and I feel for Lan, because that is a difficult position to be in. But I feel like that's kind of the point of a lot of these different type of protector roles, where they say you can't have loved ones or you shouldn't have loved ones, because it will always tear you from what your oath was. And in this case it did, and it got Lan hurt, and it probably really affected both Moraine and Nynaeve. Nynaeve gets hurt as well, and so does Moraine. It's not fair to put all of that on Lan's shoulders, but it may not have gone so terribly wrong if he hadn't have had that split indecision. So that's just rough. That's really rough, buddy. Yeah, so I felt really terrible for Moraine in that scene. Something else that bothers me is when, and this happens in any book or movie where there is like an institution, a thing has been around for hundreds of years. It's, you know, or a building has been there, or a place, a person just an institution almost to whatever world we're in. And the Green Man is one of those things that I would consider. He's just a well-established thing that's in this world. And I hate that he's already dead. I hate when institutions are destroyed or killed. In this case, I feel that loss quite a bit, because you lose so much. There's just so much more than just the Green Man dying. Like, he's part of something bigger than himself, and I hate that we lose it. This last part of the book is just a wild and crazy ride. It really is. Chapter 51, Against the Shadow. This chapter was a little confusing, to be honest. I actually reread it twice, or I read it twice total. I still find myself a bit confused, but we're going with it because that's just what we're going to do right now. We're just going to go with it. I'm sure we're going to learn more and get more details later on in other books if they're necessary. I may piece together some more things. Agenor tells Rand that he faced Lews Therin, and that's basically what was in the prologue. So I wonder if that means Agenor is also Ellen Morin. I don't really know. That part's not clear. The reincarnations kind of throw me for a loop sometimes, so I don't know if they're the same person or if he's just, you know, another one of Balzamon's minions, basically, who's also faced Lews Therin, because I'm sure Lews Therin has went up against more than just Ellen Morin. So they don't have to be the same person, but it did make me a little curious because I like some clarification on that. If it's a spoiler for future books, don't worry about telling me. I'll get there. But that was something that was a little confusing for me. And Rand's mother, at first I wasn't sure if she was supposed to be some kind of vision or like a lie from Balzamon to try to trap Rand, but Rand is able to wield this sword of light without Balzamon training him, and so Balzamon is completely flabbergasted, I guess. I haven't used that word in a long time. That Rand could do that without Balzamon teaching him, so he has some kind of supernatural ability to wield these powerful things, and I find that extremely interesting. The whole thing with the cord, I don't know if I fully understand it still. I'm kind of thinking that the pull in the Eye of the World was like the source of the male side of the magic, of the one true power, and so I wonder if like that cord is what was giving him the power, and so when Rand severs it with the light sword, that he broke the connection to the Eye of the World. That's kind of how I've got it in my head. So I don't know. It's a working idea. It just, like I said, it was pretty crazy. And it's another one of those things like where Robert Jordan just, sometimes he throws things on you so fast and you have to reread it because you don't know exactly what just happened. So that was one of those things, and I know I've heard a lot of people say that the last chapter or this chapter can be a little confusing, so I'm just kind of hoping that I end up learning a little bit more in future books, and I feel like that's very likely because once again, Rand doesn't really know what happened, so I'm not surprised that I don't know what happened. Chapter 52, There is Neither Beginning Nor End. So we get a lot of information in this chapter. Rand keeps saying that Shaitan is dead, and I don't believe him. I really don't. For a 15-book series, he's not dead. That's also fine. I just kind of find it funny, but he's not dead because otherwise I don't know what we're doing for 15 more books. So I am really interested in the seal being broken. I know Moraine mentioned that. Rand himself seems very disconnected from his own memories, and I wonder if that's from the taint of the male magic. I don't know what exactly. He just feels so disconnected from his own memories. So I'm hoping that's just a little bit of shock. Maybe he'll kind of come more back into himself and not the taint of the magic already affecting him, because that would be really worrisome. We learned that Rand can channel, so my original theory of him possibly being a warder is nullified, but that's also fine. I had that idea because I kind of wanted him to be Egwene's warder. I really liked that idea, but I also knew that probably wouldn't come to fruition. So I'm not surprised that he's a Chandler, and we do learn that he is the one that helped Bella way back in the beginning of the book. So I thought that was really cool, because I love Bella. She's a true hero. And of course, Rand is still lying to Matt and Perrin about being able to channel, and I truly don't understand that. I really don't. They're supposed to be the closest of friends. They have been through so much together. He should be able to feel like he can trust them enough to let them know. It's very boggling. So one really funny part in this chapter is when Moiraine says, so this horn has to go to Ilion, and Perrin is just like, what did I just say about going home? So that actually made me laugh. I really liked the kind of comic relief at the end of the book. Chapter 53, The Wheel Turns. So the title of the chapter is very, very sombering. So this is the end of the book, and we meet Algamar, or we've already met him, but Moiraine is telling him about this horn. Moiraine constantly denies Algamar's wishes. So, you know, her and Lan didn't stay, and that kind of bothered him, and then now she won't leave the horn with him, so it's just one more thing. So I kind of wonder about Algamar's character. Surely he's loyal and just, and I just kind of wonder if this is not going to come to play later on in the book, because she may have pushed him a bit too far. I felt like we were really told about his reaction to how Moiraine was treating him about the horn and staying and everything like that. Those conversations were a bit drawn out for me to kind of feel like it's just a one and done little scene, that he may come back into play later on in maybe some of the books. I don't really know. Of course, Rand, with his newfound knowledge of him being a wielder, he's terrified of being gentled, and I absolutely understand. That just sounds terrifying, let alone the actual idea of it is terrifying. So I don't blame him, but I wish he would seek comfort with Matt and Perrin. But I know that's not going to happen. That's okay. He's young, and he'll eventually learn that he can trust them, and we'll get there in the end. And it says that, it mentions that the dragon is reborn, and I want to know who. I'm still not sure if it's Rand, because he's the child of the dragon, so it may not be Rand. So that's my burning question, is who is the dragon? I cannot wait to find out in the future books. This book was just great, and I am so glad that I have started it. I don't plan on really taking breaks between these, at most a week or two between books, nothing crazy. I don't even know if I'm going to take that long of a break, but if you guys are interested in me doing a whole book review, like just as a whole rather than just chapter by chapter, I will do that. I probably will do that, honestly. I'll probably do the book as a whole. But be on the lookout for that, and then I will be starting the Great Hunt here really soon. Y'all take care. Bye.